Welcome back. Listen, man, we didn't win viral. Um, but hey, listen, we didn't win viral. Shout out to shout out to everybody who reached out to us. But we got to make a correction, man. I always believe in 100% independent journalism and being straightforward. So we got to make a correction. So we had a post go viral over the last week about Slutty Vegan closing its restaurant on campus and being voted out by the students. Now, a lot of students voiced some opinions saying they didn't like the pricing, they didn't like the limited options. So they said all the things that we mentioned. So it was no fake news. The problem was all the headlines that were reported about it. It said the students voted out Slutty Vegan.
And that's not true.
That's not true. What really happened is, and I got an email I'm going to read here from Spelman University, is February 24th, Slutty Vegan independently contacted the student union or whoever runs the food on campus for Spelman, whoever her contact is. Slutty Vegan contacted them and said, it's February 24th. We're closing effectively immediately, and we got 48 hours. So February 26th, the restaurant on campus is going to shut down. And then they came to the students and said, hey, who would you like to replace Slutty Vegan? Because it just hit the press that they're no longer going to be on campus, which was crazy because they just built out the whole thing not even 18 months ago. So I'll read you the email from Spelman College. They said, a request for correction. They were very nice, by the way. Shout out to Spelman.
No,
right?
And shout out to you for doing good journalism, too.
Yeah, I hope this email finds you well. I'm reaching out on behalf of Spelman College to request a correction to a recent post on your social media page, Black Millionaires. The post incorrectly states that Spelman College closed the on-campus Slutty Vegan location following a student survey. This is inaccurate. Remember, we said the students voted them out? No, they independently closed. To clarify, Spelman College did not close the Slutty Vegan location. The restaurant independently notified the college on Monday, February 24th, of their decision to close the campus location, effective February 26, 2025. So in 48 hours, we're closing. Let the students know there won't be no more Slutty Vegan.
All right.
While a recent student poll indicated that Twisted Taco as the preferred dining option in replacement of it, it was not a factor in Slutty Vegan's departure.
Okay.
So then they said, we kindly ask you to issue a correction accurately to reflect these events. Thank you for your time and attention to this matter. Please let us know if you need any further clarifications. With gratitude, social media and creative content specialist. I'm not going to read her name because,
Yeah.
let
No,
her do
absolutely.
her job.
So it sounds like it was decided by Slutty Vegan on their own to do that.
Which is worse in my opinion.
I knew that there was going to be a caveat.
It's worse in my opinion because it shows that, one, no matter if the students voted or not, they voted with their pocketbook. I never owned a restaurant, but I have a lot of clients that I do marketing and stuff for who has global restaurants, local restaurants, etc. And if a location will never close if it's doing well. Like that's just not how the restaurant industry works because most of all of the restaurant success is location. It's very rare that you can put a good restaurant in a bad location and that restaurant does really, really well. That's why they say McDonald's is a real estate company, right? Burger King, Wendy's, that's why you see these restaurants in the same areas. Location really matters. So to be on Spelman location, right in front of your target audience, quote unquote, and to close your restaurant a year and a half in, and you already got building costs, you got design costs, architecture, all of this upfront capital that people don't really account for in business. They just see you opening a location. That's why I think it's worse because it means, for one, they more than likely lost money on the build out, hiring all these people, PR, all of this. And a year and a half, that means they've been struggling for a minute. You don't just you don't struggle for 2 months and say I'm gonna close my restaurant.
Yeah.
If you've only been on campus a year and a half and then you abruptly close in 48 hours, that means you've probably been struggling half of the time you've been there, which is only 9 months. So that's why I think it would actually be preferred to get voted off because that means people spending money, they just don't like the food. Mm-hmm. That's cool. I'd rather you spend the money with me and then give me feedback, because now she can always adjust her prices, adjust her food options or whatever to
But
fit.
you're still there.
But you're still there.
Right.
Versus
Not being there.
I'm not there.
But honestly, I'm not surprised. Like I mentioned last episode, I saw an interview where she was talking about she had too much overhead, too many expenses, and too many bills. So I think that, when her business was doing so well so quickly, you want to scale it, fast, and that's not always the best decision. So I'm not even mad at her for realizing that, scaling back before you just go into bankruptcy and there are no more Slutty Vegans. So I think as entrepreneurs, you have to have the space to be able to grow and you bring it back a little bit if you need to, and reevaluate and regroup and try different strategies. That's just part of the entrepreneurship journey. So,
and I did I did some further research on this. So this is according to their website, right? This ain't nothing I'm not saying this. They closed, at least temporarily, about 4 to 5 locations. So their West End Atlanta location, that was the first location that went viral, and they catapulted from there. They got other locations in Edgewood and Gwinnett and things like that, but they temporarily closed that flagship location. They had a location in Athens, Georgia, right by UGA. They closed that one. That been closed for 2 to 3 years because of the whole. They thought Pinky Cole was the lady, the Black Lives Matter lady. Harlem, then that was a big one. So Harlem it's kind of a food desert, right? Like they don't really have that many fresh vegan options in Harlem. It was only 3 of them, and her location there is temporarily closed now. So a lot of people from Harlem, which got a big following, in New York, they was reaching out to me saying like, man, the Harlem location closed too. So that's another location that is closed. They opened in Dallas, right? Shout out to Dallas. I love Dallas. They opened in Dallas, closed quickly. But she's opening she's opening in the airport. She's opening I think she's in the Brave Stadium. So I believe she's seeing the writing on the wall with these standalone locations, and she's saying like, hey, maybe I need guaranteed traffic like the Brave Stadium.
Absolutely.
And I need, instead of trying to build long-term slutty vegan followers, she wants quick and easy people who are not thinking about, and they're trying it kind of like a one-time thing, like at the Brave Stadium, at the airport, things like that, versus this being on campus all day, and it's like, that's all I got.
Yeah, I mean, it's fast food. Nobody's going to eat fast food 3 meals a day every day,
Correct.
So, yeah, I agree with you.
All right, Pinky, shout out to you. You got this. Any way we can support.
Yeah, because our intention is never to tear anyone down or anything.
Yeah, because we got that backlash too. Oh, y'all tearing down a black business.
Definitely not trying to do that. Definitely not. Never trying to do that.
Now, Mark Cuban, you said you got some. You had some thoughts on Mark Cuban.
Yeah. So Mark Cuban, and to be fair, I didn't see the whole interview. I just saw a short clip where Mark Cuban was basically talking to black women entrepreneurs and business founders, and telling us to stop looking for funding and that we need to do our own bootstrapping. I had mixed feelings about it.
Very mixed, yes.
So as a black woman, as expected, my first initial reaction is that it stings, because that's how businesses come about, from funding.
Correct.
So either your daddy and mommy have money and they help you fund it, or you go get a loan from the bank. Like, no one is just born into this earth independently wealthy, not having, generational wealth.
Right.
So I don't know what the percentage is, but a large percentage of businesses get off the ground because of funding.
Some type of funding, yes.
Yeah, and that's always been the case throughout history. So to now, in 2025, tell black women in a time when we are becoming leading entrepreneurs that we need to stop seeking funding altogether and just get it on your own is crazy.
Yeah.
But I will say this. Once you get past the initial shock of what he's saying, and you really look at the reality, that is what we need to do. Like, on a realistic level, that's what we need to do. Because when we do go to banks and other venture capitalists or people who could be potential investors, a lot of times they're either not going to go through with the funding, or they're going to make you jump through a lot of hoops. And like Mark Cuban said, when you borrow money, you don't own your whole business. And so that was one positive thing and realistic, logical thing that he said, is that if you do find your own funding and you do bootstrap yourself, you get to maintain more ownership over your business. And you get to maintain more of your profits as well. So I think that if we could look at it from a non-egotistical point and really understand that we do have the power to bootstrap ourselves, especially if we work as a collective as Black women and not just think that you have to do everything on your own. Like if we could put that barrier away of competing with each other as women and, oh, it's okay if men come into the group, but if another woman is, it's a problem. I think if we could get past that, I think Mark Cuban has a valid point. But I do think that for women who are not able to bootstrap themselves, I don't think that the idea of starting a business should be out the window because you can't get funding. So that's not fair. And Black women should have funding available to them through different avenues. So we do still need to work on that because everyone isn't going to bootstrap themselves. But if you can, try.
I think it sounds good in theory, but to me, honestly, it's bullshit. And I fuck with Mark Cuban, but the reason I think it's bullshit is because at the end of the day, that is how wealth is transferred through funding and business and acquisitions and things like that. Now, what I would say to piggyback off what you said is it's really the collective working together. The problem is a lot of these Black women are solo entrepreneurs working themselves. They ain't got nobody to help, and they can't really work with they can't work with nobody because they don't want to work with other Black women because now who gonna be the CEO, who gonna be this, who gonna be that. So it's a power struggle there. Then they're not really working with a Black men. They're not working with white people. They're not working with no other race. So it's kind of like, in this narrative online, it's just Black women versus the world, right? Black women save the world. Black women save the Democrats. Black women save politics. It's always save coming from a Black woman. So I personally think it should be less businesses in terms of you start an LLC, you do this, you got an idea, and more, oh, you want to be in hair care? You've been a hairstylist for 10 years? You know what? I've been in retail and operations for 10 years. Let's come together.
Conglomerates.
Can you think of any brands where 4 or 5 Black women started this and it grew into a brand? Instagram, billion-dollar company, multi-billion. 2 white dudes started it. 11 programmers came on. So it's like 10, 11, 12 people. Sold the company for $1 billion. They had no revenue, right? Think about these companies. Really, when it comes to Black business in general, but we just speaking to Black women, a lot of them are in the hair care business, or they have like a clothing brand, a purse, or some type of makeup, or something that y'all use for lifestyle, which is fine because most you know those products, so you're gonna if you use makeup, you know what's good makeup versus bullshit, so you're probably gonna lean towards that. The problem is, it's so many hair care startups and nobody really trying to come together and work together. I just told you about the hair care startup I invested in. That is rare to even hear, oh, you invested in a Black woman and her brand and her. Yes, I did. Right? And it's like, at the end of the day, the money that I put into it, I put real money. I didn't put like, no, here go $300, get your LLC and we partners. No, like I funded things so it can get off the ground, and the business is actually based off the revenue it's generating. We're reinvesting the revenue. I'm not asking for no dividends or nothing like that. So it's not like I'm taking money from it. And I can see the trajectory of that business growing. But like at the end of the day, the funding aspect that's not just Black women. That's all businesses. You would never tell a group of white dudes.
I know, right?
You would never tell some white woman. You would never tell some Indian entrepreneur or nobody. You would never, ever, no matter how hard it is, because it's hard for white dudes to get funded. These white dudes, think about this. Like, white dudes are also competing with other white dudes. Definitely. So the poor white dudes who trying to come up, they're competing with the Harvard white dudes and the Stanford. So it's hard for them too.
Right.
But you would never come tell them and say, you know what, man, you done did 100 pitches. Give up, man. Don't even do that. So yeah. I understand what he's trying to say, but I personally think it's bullshit because at the end of the day, funding that's how you actually build wealth through companies. That's just like saying banks, they discriminate against Black people when it comes to
just save up for a mortgage for your own.
Don't get no mortgage.
Just buy a $400,000 house.
Yeah, just say the $400,000.
Save up, and then you're telling the demographic of people that make the least money, that come from the least money, which is Black women.
come on, bro. Like
Head
it's
of
ridiculous.
household, taking care of kids by themselves.
What
And
he
these
should
are
have
the women
said,
you
what
want
I
to
would have
bootstrap
loved
themselves.
to hear Mark Cuban say was, black women, y'all need to start working together and fund your own businesses. Y'all all got these good ass degrees and good jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all all make six figures. How about y'all dedicate 20,000 a year a piece to this business? That's 60 grand. How many people start a business? You can start a real business with 60 grand.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I started my business with no money. Like, I ain't had nothing when I started my brand. So if I would have had 60 G's after already learning everything that I learned throughout my entrepreneurship,
Mm-hmm.
I'd be a lot further. So like, that's what I would have want. That's what I want to hear. Not, hey man, just give up,
I
man.
know.
You know, just it's over. Even you get 1% of venture capital, you get 0.5%. Just give up.
Anytime I hear white men even use the word bootstrapping for black people,
Nothing
it's
is
just
bootstrap.
so triggering.
Nothing is bootstrap. I don't care what you. Nothing is bootstrap. They're funded either by the government, some from a contract,
There you go. Like Elon Musk.
their family. Exactly.
Right.
Elon is not bootstrapped.
Yeah.
Nothing about his life is bootstrapped. He got all of this money from the government, and that's not a shot at Elon. He just
He came into a fortunate situation because his daddy was making money from apartheid.
like
Let's
all
be
of
for
this,
real.
like all of this. None of these people are bootstrapped. Like, I don't care what you say. So the idea of bootstrapped is, it's like I look at it like propaganda
It is.
towards minorities. It's
To make us feel guilty and make us feel
so
like,
like you just ain't good enough.
there you go. There you go, James. That's
Bill
right.
Gates was good enough to become a billionaire.
There you
No,
go.
like they sold. Like, come on, bro.
But that's our problem too. We revere rich people so much, to our own detriment too.
Yeah, I mean, I do the same thing. When I was starting my business, I'm watching these documentaries and shit. Like, oh man, if I could just do this. Then you start being around wealth and you start to understand wealth, and you realize that a lot of this shit was because they knew this person. I mean, even Don Peebles, he's a black billionaire. He got rich because he was cool with the mayor of DC. That he
Oh.
literally tells the story. He was like, I was about to go to college, all of this, and I got my real estate license. I dropped out, and he started doing business with the government, flipping properties. He was real good at developing properties, and he says it. He got rich because he was in close proximity and in good grace with the mayor of DC. So he's not bootstrapped either.
Exactly.
So I can't really think of nobody who's really,
Yeah, it's the nerve. It's
who's
the
really
nerve. It's the
bootstrapped.
nerve for me too. But I just tried to figure out what I could extract from it. That would be a lesson. But yeah, it's definitely bullshit, like you said.
Speaking of black women working together, our sister Jess Hilarious and Lauren Lorosa on the Breakfast Club are going at it.
Child.
I seen the writing on the wall with this because one of the lawyers that I had was she was on a panel with Lauren LaRosa, so I knew about Lauren before she even quit TMZ. Like, I've been following her for a minute,
Okay.
and I'm like, yeah, she's really good. I actually reached out to her like, hey, can we do some collab or whatever? But she was like, about to leave TMZ, whatever. So I didn't know what's the next move, so I'm just sitting back to see. Then Angela Yee left.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh, she would be good. I thought Kendra G would be good.
Kendra's
Kendra
good.
G got a part in this too. I don't know if you've seen Kendra video. Kendra came back and because they kind of stiff armed her for Jess.
Oh, okay.
And iHeart owns the company because you work in radio. So
I work for iHeart.
right, they own the company
Yeah.
that Kendra used to work for in Chicago.
Right, WGCI.
Yep. So she kind of got stiff armed and she quit that company because she felt like, damn, I work for the company. I'm interviewing for this job and I get stiff armed. So she just she quit. But yeah, Lauren LaRosa and Jess Hilarious are going at it. Jess Hilarious took maternity leave, and once she accepted the job, and she handpicked, quote unquote, Lauren LaRosa to take over her spot while she was gone. And Lauren was so good, she never left. And when Jess came back, now she's feeling some type of way that she's she basically
Having to share her spotlight.
Correct.
As the only woman on the show.
correct.
Yeah. I mean, what's happening to Jess Hilarious happens all the time in radio.
Yes.
You have your full-time people, you have your part-time people.
Mm-hmm.
And part-time people, not all of them, not all the time, but sometimes they feel like when they get to fill in for someone who is full-time, then that's their time to shine. Now, there are different, like, etiquette protocols, meaning when you cover for someone's shift, if they're out for maternity leave or they're out on vacation for the week or they're out for the day, you fill in, and you're supposed to do a good, entertaining, informative, kind of dry show. Like, it's frowned upon for you to go really hard, you know?
It is?
Yeah, it is. You're basically supposed to do that person's show the way that they do their show. So if they give their entertainment report at 9, you give the entertainment report. And when you intro yourself each time, when you do your positioning statement, that's what it's called, you're supposed to say, this is so-and-so, and I'm filling in for so-and-so.
The Breakfast Club do that. They say Loren Lorosa is filling in for Jess Hilarious.
Exactly. That's what everyone does. That's what you're supposed to do because you don't want to confuse your audience and make them think, hey, where is my person? Oh, maybe they're not on here anymore. I'm not tuning in anymore. So these are all like etiquette things that you do within radio. But honestly, part-time people, producers who are behind the scenes, who have aspirations of becoming on-air talent, you know, radio is like a franchise business is how I like to describe it. It's just like an NBA team or an NFL team. There's only so many stations, there's only so many genres, only so many markets, and only so many day parts. So you have your morning show, you have your midday show, your afternoon show, your night show, and then sometimes people have overnight, sometimes they don't.
Right.
So there's only so many spots. And when people come on to sign contracts, they sign them for 2-3 years at a time. So it can be really, really, really hard to move up in that arena. So people are scared to go on maternity leave. They are scared to go on vacation because they are worried that whoever is filling in for them might never leave, like in this scenario. Jess is new to radio, which is why I feel like she's airing everything out the way that she is.
And, go ahead. No.
I mean, people usually don't air it all out like that. But in the Breakfast Club's case, they have, drama as part of their brand. So I think it's probably right on par for the course for the Breakfast Club. But I do hate to see two black women like fighting for, a spot.
For a position.
Yeah, because there's really enough room for both of them. But I do understand Jess's position, right? But I also understand Loren's position as well. And as a black woman, I just hate that. Because I honestly think, my opinion, if they would have brought another guy on as the fourth voice or whatever they're calling it, I don't think that it would be such an issue for Jess Hilarious. And I could be wrong. That's just my opinion. But I feel like it's because it's another woman that it's kind of like, why are you in my spot?
Let me ask you this. They brought in, you know Jason Lee from Hollywood Unlocked? Now, he's a man, but he's gay. So do you feel like if they would have brought him in, like, do you feel like, okay, he wouldn't have fit in good with just him, Charlamagne, and DJ Envy.
But by his orientation?
But I'm just saying.
And being a man?
Yeah, if he would have been like somebody that came in and out and rotated, you don't think Jess would have had an issue with positioning with him because he's a man, even though he's gay?
Yeah, because he still would have brought a different element. Even if Loren would have been a white girl instead of another black girl. Like, as black women, we are really made to believe that our competition is each other. I think
the only difference
it could have been anybody else.
The only difference between them two is Jess is a comedian and Loren is a professional journalist.
And I think that's an issue for Jess Hilarious because people are getting on the internet and they're saying that Loren is more professional and she has a better delivery.
Yeah.
And then that's why Jess is bringing to everyone's attention that, hey, you guys hired me for being a social media comedian and not being formal and not always being,
I'm going to be honest,
the shock value.
I think Jess fits better with Charlamagne and DJ. I think Loren fits better with Charlamagne and DJ Envy because Charlamagne play too much anyway. So if you have Charlamagne on there playing too much all day, DJ Envy is not a journalist. He's not the guy you look to for breaking news or whatever or commentary. He asks the questions and shut up and sit behind the computer. Then you got Jess. She's over there like being a comedian and joking. But she don't, like, when I watch the interviews with her, she don't ask that many thought-provoking questions. So the interviews, they could be a lot better.
She's not formally trained for that, though.
I know, but on the flip side.
And she's new. Remember, she got the job, got pregnant, left for months and months and months,
Yeah.
and then came back to get initiated into radio.
And on the flip side, Loren is everything that Jess needs to sharpen her tube. Like, I feel like Jess can do what Loren does, but Loren can't do what Jess. Like, Loren is not about to just become a comedian tomorrow
and be all witty and everything.
And be all witty, and everybody knows her for comedy. She doing stand up and all that. So the reality is, Jess need to learn from Loren. But then that ego get in, you know what I'm saying? That ego come in, and you start reading the comments, and everybody talking about how just throw Jess out. Like, we need Loren, we need it. And then she a black woman, they're around the same age, you know. So all of those demographics, if it was one older and one younger, that would have even been, I feel like that would have even been different, because you have a different perspective. But Jess is not new to the influencer game. Like,
she just had
she's
a baby
OG,
too.
quote unquote.
You got to know, like, she's postpartum. I don't know if her baby is 1 full year. It's not, because of last year I saw her at the Black Effect podcast, and she was still pregnant. So her baby's not even 1 year old yet. And like I said, she had to leave for a large amount of time to have the baby, take care of the baby, and there was like a new position for her, a new contract.
Yeah.
And then you come back and somebody's kind of in your seat, and you're like, dang, all I did was go have a baby, you know. But
hold on, did she come back and leave again? I think she like came back and then like went on tour.
She might have.
Yeah, because she probably was going to get that money. Like, because, they make their money on tour and all. And this is honestly why I think Jess
That's why you got to hire radio people.
Right,
they're bringing on all these social media people because of their platform. They're not trained, and they don't have the time or the availability to be anchored to that studio like you have to be every day to do radio.
And you got to get up 4, 5 in the morning,
all of that,
researching, doing all. Like, I don't think Jess is. I don't think that position is for her. Like, even though it's quote unquote for her, I think that position is literally for Loren. Like, she worked at TMZ, she went through the ranks. She should have got that position. But they gave it to Jess because Jess was more popular. She had more fans at the moment. She was more well known, so it's easier to throw her in with no skills.
Yeah.
It's kind of like having pretty privilege. It's like you got one girl who you really supposed to hire, but this girl is real pretty, so you like, well, we'll just train her. And now you get in there and you like, actually we want the girl who know how to do everything. She's pretty enough. She's known enough.
Yeah.
And now it's like you trying to elbow the pretty girl out the way, and she's not gonna go out quiet.
Yeah, but it depends. Like, everybody has different opinions, even within the management and ownership, about how to go about it. Shout out to Young Jock. That's my bro, man. I didn't know if he was gonna last in radio. We started a morning show together, and I was like, man, this dude is a hosting clubs. He's traveling. You got a lot of kids. You gonna get up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning every day to come do morning show. But shout out to my bro. I think he's like on your 6.
Yeah, Young Jock. He definitely transitioned pretty well.
Yeah, he killing it, and he's doing a great job. But it is so difficult. But at the same time, even with him, he's a dad, not a mom.
Yes.
So when you're up with a baby all night, like Jess might have been, and then you still got to go do that morning shift.
Then you feel
guilty. Then you're being unappreciated by your employers or your viewing audience, your listening audience.
She definitely taking all that anger out on.
I hope they work it out. I hope that they make it work for the both of them. They're both deserving, and there's literally enough space for them. And I hope that they're exaggerating it for the listening audience, to keep bringing attention to the show. I hope it's not all the way real, and if it is, I hope that they smooth it out.
I really think it's real, but I hope they smooth it out too, because it's just really people on the outside laughing at you. And what's the comedian name? Corey Holcomb.
He gonna bring his monkey ass on Beyonce's internet, talking crazy. No, he didn't get on the internet talking about Jess Hilarious don't know how to talk and articulate herself, because he does, and he's 50-something years old, man. Corey Holcomb better sit down somewhere. You just got off the internet last week talking about you like girls 18 years old and broke so that you can manipulate them.
He did say that. Yeah, that's crazy.
If anybody take him seriously, you better go have several seats. And then run tell that.
Hey, Corey Holcomb, he did say that. That was a clip. I was gonna post that, but I'm like, I don't know about that one. That was kind of, I didn't like that narrative, because it came off definitely kind of weird.
Yeah,
like, it came off weird.
It's not even a bad message. It's the messenger. You are not the person.
I didn't like that. But let's switch up and get into some real wealth. This is, man, I was sad when I seen this, man, because I know so many people who get their wealth stolen through probate court when they lose parents or divorce or things like that because they just didn't have their affairs in order. But this young lady, a North Carolina woman, she lost her family's home, right? So she stayed in an area that had an HOA, and she didn't pay a $400 fee. And you know the HOA can build up. It might be paid quarterly, monthly, or sometimes annually. And if you don't pay it, even if you own your home, they have a right to put a lien on your property, and they can literally foreclose on your home. I used to
Correct.
be a mortgage banker, so I used to have to educate people on this when they get condos, when they get townhouses, because they have HOA fees,
Yep.
and we have to put that HOA fee into their debt to income ratio because that's something you're going to have to pay.
Correct.
So you can't be right on the edge and, oh, by the way, we got a $500 a month debt to income. I mean, we got a $500 a month HOA fee. So that's something that goes into your debt to income. But a North Carolina woman lost her family's home over $400 in HOA fees that doubled and tripled over the time. They reached out to her apparently, and throughout the article it said she got some of the messages, but she thought they were a joke. Like, y'all about to take my home up for $400 over. Then it got up to $1,200, and once it got up to $1,200, the HOA fee foreclosed on the home. And here's the sad part: they sold it to an investor or a
On the
wholesaler.
auction.
They sold it to a wholesaler for $45,000.
49.
Well, 49,000. I'm sorry. And the wholesaler turned and sold that to an investor. The investor invested money in it, fixed and flipped it, and sold it for $850,000. This is generational wealth.
This happens all the time.
This happens all the time. Now, I never owned a property. I own property, but I never owned a property that has an HOA.
Yeah.
Now, I know you said you owned a property that had an HOA. So what is your...
Yeah. I currently own a property that has an HOA, and it's high, too. It's talking about $400. Double that. But,
right.
Yeah, you said it right. You said it right. When you own a property that has HOA, you have two things at play possibly, which is your mortgage and your HOA. And then your mortgage is going to have an escrow account, which will have your taxes and insurance in it.
Yep.
And if you don't pay your taxes and you don't pay your insurance, you're going to get a lien put on you. If you don't pay the principal mortgage, you're going to get a lien put on you. Don't pay the HOA, you're going to get a lien put on you. And this happens all the time. And so I believe that the lesson to be learned from this is that it's not just enough to pass down assets to your kids. That's not enough. And I get it why we think it's enough, because 1 or 2 generations ago, we weren't even doing that.
Correct.
So I get it. But if you're going to be passing money or assets along to your family members or kids, you need to have some kind of maybe stipulation in there. Or if you don't want to be that strict, you need to, while you're still alive, make them take some kind of free course. There's free courses you do not have to pay for, and get some financial literacy. Because you can, I see it all the time. I see parents, grandparents who spend their entire life working hard, laborious jobs, turn around and leave a property to their kids or money to their kids, and they squander it within 1 year.
It's happening in my family right now.
1 year, all the savings is gone. The properties are being foreclosed on. It's really, really sad. Financial literacy is so important. It's so important. You take the initiative. If you know that you have family members that are going to be leaving assets to you, one day our parents aren't going to be here. And if you know that they're going to be leaving property or money to you, get yourself educated so that this type of stuff doesn't happen to you, because nobody cares. Nobody cares. I buy properties off the auction. Yep. And at first I used to feel bad, but then after a while I was like, you
got your affairs in order. You can pluck the property for the taxes, or in this case, the HOA. And you got to think about it too. You mentioned something, and I don't want to go over it because it's very, very important. When you buy a property, you essentially have 4 to 5 liens on the property before it's actually yours. So obviously, taxes, they getting theirs, right? Taxes, no matter how high or low, they have to be paid. Insurance.
Yep.
A lot of times when you have a lien on a property, now you can own a property free and clear and not have insurance on it. I'm not advocating for that.
You can't,
but you can in some areas.
Oh, yeah. Okay, but not if you have an HOA.
Yeah, and I was
yeah.
gonna get to that. So, but once you
Uh-huh.
have an HOA, that's a third lien holder, and now the insurance becomes a lien holder because the HOA is going to require it. The mortgage company is going to require it. The
Correct.
interest on the mortgage is another lien holder. You don't pay that. You don't pay the principal. So think about 5 things. Like when you own a property, you got the principal, the interest, the insurance, the taxes, and the HOA. If that's 5 lien holders that must be paid before the property is actually yours.
Correct.
So
And no, and it's not a one-time thing. Those are
all of
ongoing.
these are
You're gonna pay
ongoing
those
things.
into eternity. As
Yes.
long as it's in your name, your family's name, there's never a day where you don't have to pay it.
It's never a day. So you got to think about that when you are acquiring these properties. And I got a family situation going on right now that family member worked their whole life. All they did is, my granddad was a plumber, worked his whole life, left a property, was gonna leave it to his kids. My grandma called me. It's 10 days away from being taken away.
I bet.
Had to step in, pay the taxes, negotiate, and doing this, and now it ended up in probate court, or ended up in court because now the family members who was gonna let it go for the taxes, now they see someone else stepping up and acquiring the property. Now they wanna fight for the property, but it's like you ain't even fight to pay the taxes.
Hmm.
So why now you fighting and paying lawyers to get the property, but you basically gave the property away and let it go. So this happens every single day down at the probate court or at these real estate auctions.
At the
And
forecourt.
and I know you said you've been to one before. I've been to one as well. Bought assets off of it
Yeah.
for pennies on the dollar.
Pennies
And
on the dollar. And if you're in that situation currently, don't panic too. Because depending on the city, state, or jurisdiction that you're in, a lot of times they'll give you 1 year, sometimes a year and a half.
you got
sometimes
a lot of
even
it's
2
a lot of
years.
laws for you.
And you'll have to pay whatever you back owe, and then plus they have different interest rates. Sometimes they're 15%, 20%, or whatever.
Different
But
states.
even if somebody purchased your home, it's still not their home for at least a year, between a year to 2 years.
Yeah.
So you still have the opportunity to get it back. But really, educate yourselves. And if you have a will, if you know that you're going to be passing things down, even put specifications in your will. Say that I'm leaving the house to you, but you can't sell it until this time. Or if you don't
Yes.
have the money to pay the taxes, you need to sell it right away and then do XYZ with the money, or whatever it is. But as Black people, communities, and families, we have got to bring ourselves to speed when it comes to financial literacy. And don't think that financial literacy is something you need to step into when you get the money.
Right.
Do it now when you're broke. When you have no money to
Yeah.
even rub together, read some
You want-
books, watch some YouTube videos. And even when you watch YouTube videos, make sure that you're watching people who are reputable, people who have for real done what they're talking about, or people who show that they have accounting degrees, or certifications in finance. Or
Yeah.
make sure that you're talking to people who know what they're talking about and not scammers.
Yes, because you can lose your property. Like this young lady lost her property.
And
for 400.
$850,000 they flipped
yeah.
it for.
Yep. They put some money into it, but they probably got a roof, put some maintenance on it, cosmetic stuff. I can't imagine that this property, HOA properties don't even let the property get down that bad.
That's
You
crazy.
know that, like, they make you cut your grass, they make you do all of this, so the property probably needed a little updating.
It probably was
Couple
in,
hundred,
in a neighborhood that got gentrified after her parents or
on.
whoever left it to her. So the
Come
value
on.
might even be like a fake inflated value. I don't know where the house is.
Yeah.
North Carolina. They flipped it for almost $1 million. They're gonna put it with the other houses that are in that area, which is probably why. I don't know. But
Yeah.
please get yourselves educated.
Get educated, guys. Another situation where education was key. If any business that you're in, you got to learn the ins and outs of the business. And anybody who's in entertainment, you may as well go to law school because lawyers run the entertainment industry. I tell people this all the time. If you don't have access to lawyers, if you don't know the laws about copyright, trademark, defamation, branding, things like that, contracts, you may as well get out of the entertainment industry. So a New Orleans artist named Young Chris said on the podcast is called No Lazine. Shout out to them. He said he paid Moneybagg Yo, rapper Moneybagg Yo, $110,000 for a feature and a video. Now that number doesn't sound crazy because Moneybagg Yo, even though he kind of slowed down a little bit now, but 3-4 years ago, he was like one of the hottest artists in the game. So him getting $110,000 plus a video shoot. So they shot the video shoot in the hood. Moneybagg Yo came, showed love, dapped up all the street dudes, whatever.
He did his part.
He did his part.
Okay.
However, Moneybagg Yo is signed to CMG.
Right.
CMG is a subsidiary, and they have a partnership with a major label. I believe the major label is Atlantic, but I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. So we just gonna say a major label. The problem is the guy now can't release his song and put it on Spotify, Apple Music, any of these platforms because the company is going to shoot it down for copyright because he didn't pay his clearance fee to the major label. Now, we don't know how much that clearance fee is, but if Moneybagg Yo feature in video 110, let's imagine it had to be a 6-figure clearance fee because if it was 10,000, he would have just paid it.
Clearly he already paid 110,000
right,
for
so
the feature.
So if they would have said, "Oh, it's just 10,000, man, just clear this up real quick."
No problem.
No, it had to be 6 figures. I mean, it could have even been 7. You never really know. And basically the guy wasted his money. So now people are saying Moneybagg Yo finessed this guy. I'm not going to say that because I think at the end of the day, you got to know the business. You got to know the entertainment business. You got to have a lawyer. You should have had a lawyer looking at that anyway saying, okay, let me talk to and get this in black and white. How much is the clearance fee? He probably, knowing these young artists, these street dudes, I don't know this guy, so I can't really say if he knew or not. But a lot of guys in the streets, they don't even know about clearance fees and major labels and things like that. They just really want to make it as an artist.
Yeah. You got to learn the business of music, though. If you're making music just as a hobby because it's something that you enjoy doing, then yeah, just do that. But if you're making music for the sake of making money, you need to really get down to the nitty-gritty of the business of music. And there are plenty of different books, ebooks, and resources for you to learn more about the industry. I used to do like one-on-one consulting where I kind of coached people and let them know just the basics of
the entertainment industry.
Yeah, how split sheet goes and production credits and who gets what. So there are resources out here, but get yourself educated so you don't get finessed. That's terrible. I feel bad.
A lot. And then also he paid Moneybagg Yo. This is according to him, $150,000 to perform and come to the city and perform or whatever. So I'm not sure if they may have performed the song. I don't know.
He probably was trying to build a relationship with them.
He's building a relationship, exactly, and he got a stamp. He brought him to the hood. That built a buzz. They got a song together, all of that. So this man is out of basically $250,000 now, and he can't promote it because once you do a song with somebody in video, you can promote that forever, right? Like think about that. And I hope it ends up, and they can negotiate a deal. But if not, that money is. And he said all his friends came together and helped him. Like this is not all his money. Like his friends was kind of like betting on him being that guy to make it out, be the big dude.
And that's sad because that's what we tell people to do. We tell people to support
each other. You did all the
other.
right things.
We tell people to bet on yourselves. We tell people to take risks, but just make sure that you're weighing your risk to outcome.
And know that black and white paperwork. And I'll tell dudes.
If you had $110,000 to give Moneybagg Yo, you could have paid an attorney $2,000 to look over that paperwork.
Bruh, $2,000, $3,000, something. But that's just a lesson. I'm sure he's going to bounce back and not make that same mistake twice. I would say for the homies that's around him, one of your homies, y'all need to push him to go to school and become a lawyer if y'all are really trying to get in the entertainment industry. Because especially even if you got a homie that can hoop or you got a homie that can dance and sing or rap or whatever, one of your homies need to go to school because you're going to need to understand that copyright contract before you sign it. Because if you sign your life away, you're cooked. This topic I wanted to talk about, and I definitely want your opinion on it. Because we had a early spat about Umar, right? We kind of talked about Umar. And, people love and hate Dr. Umar. It is what it is. He's a comedian to me. He's moved past this whole activism, and I feel like he's a comedian. He leaned into all the stuff. He became a meme. He's memeing himself. But Dr. Umar recently went back and forth with his daughter because his daughter is now a TikToker. She's 22. And she basically came out and said, hey, Dr. Umar is my dad. And by the way, I have a 15-year-old daughter that I don't know. I mean, she has a 15-year-old sister, meaning Dr. Umar has a 15-year-old daughter by another woman
That he deals with.
that he dealt with, that she didn't know, and she's like, my sister is of age. I want to meet my sister. She's 15. Like, we can potentially hang out. Like, we can build. I want to build a relationship with her. And Umar, she said, wasn't responding to her calls. So she blasted him on Instagram. Obviously, it went viral.
Mm-hmm.
Then Umar came back and started bragging, talking about, I pay child support and I would have married your mom if she would have been more patient with me and had my back, but because she didn't, I moved on, and
She don't care about that.
You're a bitter baby mama, and he called his daughter a clout chaser. And I'm gonna be honest, man. Like, I rock with Umar. I lost a lot of respect for Umar when I listened to this.
That's not okay.
Because even if she is chasing clout, she's your daughter. She has the right to chase clout, dude.
But is Dr. Umar on the internet every day talking about strong black families?
Exactly.
Is he talking about present fathers and
the black community
leading?
Being in the household, talking about mentoring black boys. You building a school for black kids.
But you got a daughter that you don't ever see, and the reason is because her mama did something wrong?
Now, if her mom put a PPO out on you, protective order, you can't contact them, all of this, okay, that's understandable. You can have
but it doesn't
go to
like
court.
That.
You're a professional. You got a doctorate degree or whatever. You know how the courts work. You're an adult.
He didn't go to court because he didn't want to. He already told on himself. He said that the reason why he wasn't in her life was because it didn't work out with the mom. And that happens a lot.
Every day.
Yeah. A lot of times I see a lot of men who, if things didn't really work out with the mom, or they don't have the access that they want to the mom, then they're willing to abandon ship.
Well, it's not always the mom, though. I mean, it's not always the dad that's like abandoned ship. Sometimes the child is weaponized, and if the man doesn't,
but I'm not talking about that.
Yeah. But either way, I feel like
that's a different scenario.
I feel like what you're saying is a lot of single parent households is due to failed relationships and not necessarily.
That's what I'm saying. And it's easier for the guy to not be involved naturally because like 85-90% of the time the custodial parent becomes the mother. And so when you're a dad, it's really easy to get tired from work and come home and go to sleep, and then I'm gonna get you guys this weekend, but then this weekend I get a little busy, so it'll be next weekend.
But I sent that $1,300 or I sent that $500 or whatever in child support.
I FaceTimed you or whatever it is. Like, that's the reality of it. Yeah.
I hate it because for one, Umar is like, bro, you gotta know if you're gonna do anything, bro, you had to take care of your kids, bro. Like, you gotta be there for your kids, and you this public persona online. It was gonna come out eventually, and I didn't respect the response bragging about the child support you pay. You're supposed to pay child support,
right?
You had it's your baby. Like,
if you're not there and you're not, just voluntarily giving,
even if you're there and y'all not in the same household, there's a good argument for child support.
Absolutely.
And I'm one of those guys who's like pro child support. Like, I think more men should pay, but I also think it hurts the child and the woman more for the man to pay. I'm like anti-alimony. I ain't that guy. Like, you shouldn't get like I'll be like, nah. Like, you taking half of his assets just because you married him for a year. Like, I think that's the craziest shit America ever did. But like child support, I think a lot of these dudes get off, man. And you hear some dudes complaining about the amount of money. You would think every dude paying $10,000 a month online.
It'd be like $200.
Like, yeah, man. I went to jail for so and so. You're like, for what? Child support. Mm-hmm. How much you pay? $300 a month. Like, bro, you got on a Rolex, bro. Mm-hmm. You can't pay $300 a month.
But again, what it is that there's this, and it's not for all fathers, not for all men. So I never want to seem like I'm being like that. Yeah. But there is a mindset that men only want to put money in a woman's hand. Again, if she has the right attitude, she's making them feel good and giving them access to the things that they want.
Control is,
and so it's like, they're worried that if I give the baby mama some money, she's going to go use it to get her nails done. She's going to use it to get her hair done. And sometimes that does happen.
That happens a lot. But that happens most of the time.
But here's what you got to know. Money is like, money comes in and money goes out, right?
Yeah.
So if you're my baby's dad and you give me $100 and I use that $100 bill that you gave me and I go to the nail shop, right?
Right.
I'm still going to turn around and have to provide and do stuff for
I
my
still
son.
got to stop at
So,
the Publix and pick up
some
food
on the way home. So either way, income in a household is income in a household. So that's
yeah,
why I
I
don't
agree with that.
understand. I don't understand the 50-50 men who be like, your money is my money. Let's put it all in one pot, and because it's going to go towards the household, right? But then those same men don't understand that when you leave that household, your kid still lives in it, right?
Yeah.
Like, if I got a kid, I need 2 bedrooms. Me
Right.
and my kid can't be in a 1 bedroom, right?
Right.
So if the custodial parent is me and the kid is coming to you 2 weekends a month, right?
Right.
You have the option of pulling out the sofa bed for the kid to sleep on the couch. You don't necessarily have to have a 2 bedroom. You should, right?
Yeah, your
But
child should definitely have a room at your house.
I know plenty dads who don't have a room at their house for their kids, or
Facts.
a room at their apartment, and go get a high rise and don't even think about the fact that their
Facts.
kids are going to come over, right? So when the custodial parent, and sometimes if it is the dad, right, you have to have more bedrooms. You have to have, your utilities go up. My son moved out of my house for like 6 months. My utilities went down.
Yeah, he in there
drastically.
streaming.
Then when he come back, my utilities go right back up. So it's like the cost of having
all that.
the cost of having them in your home every day. That is an increased cost on top of school clothes or whatever else it is that you buy. So I don't think.
Costs a lot to
and
raise
men,
a child.
once they don't want to be with a woman romantically, or the woman doesn't want to be with them romantically, they don't want to feel like they're funding her lifestyle in any way. And don't let her go have a new man.
Oh, that's where it really starts.
Don't let her have a new man, because then they're going to be looking at it like, that's your new man. He should be taking care of you. Okay, he should be taking care of me, but what about our kid?
Yeah.
You know, and
that's where it really happens at, is when two couples are together. I mean, a couple is together. They have a child. The man and the woman breaks up. It's all fun and games. Even if he go get a girl and she's single, it's all cool. He's paying her bills. He's paying the bills he have. He feel good because he feel like he actually have 2 girlfriends, and you know how men be wanting all of it. Polygamy. Whatever.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
We already know how that is.
Yes.
Men be wanting to feel like the man giving you a few dollars. They don't want to go through the court system and put the money on the card and do the child support thing. They don't want to do that. They want to come get the money. Come pick the money up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody then did that whole.
Yeah, they want to feel needed, like
you
you
want to
said.
feel men want to feel needed. So the perfect situation for a man, and most men, is I got my girl at home, and if I got a baby mama, yeah, you know what I'm saying, come through, I do that, whatever. And then they gonna want to, most men, this is why a lot of men be like, I don't want to date single moms, because a lot of men be feeling like the boyfriend still is gonna always have like some type of end with his baby mama. Mm-hmm. That's up, that's up for debate, whatever. But a lot of times that's a fact. Like, if the baby daddy get his situation together, more than likely, can I move back in with my family type shit? You know how that goes, right? So it's all fun and games. Everything go crazy when the woman gets a new man. The man can get a new girl all day. But when the woman gets a new man, oh my God, all hell breaks loose. He ain't paying no bills. Had that nigga do this. Had that nigga. Yeah. The man stand over there eating all of my the kids' Fruit Loops and all that. Like, it's never really like that, but
in the defense of men too, though, it does happen on the other end. I've seen plenty men move on and get a new girlfriend, and all of a sudden now the baby mama's like, I don't want my child around her. It's not, well, I want to meet her. I want to sit down and talk to her and feel her out. I want to make sure that it's, a safe environment, that she's being nice to my child. It's not, okay, I'm going to let my child go be around her, and then I'm going to ask my child, like, how did you like daddy's new girlfriend? Was she nice to you? You know what I mean? It's like, nope. They start blocking and not letting the guys see. Even though I think when it comes to that, eventually that kind of dies down a little bit, but I cringe and just hate for the men for that period of time, whether if it's 6 months, a year, or whatever she needs to get over you. Like, I absolutely hate to see men leverage money because the woman got a new man,
leverage money,
and
all
I
day.
hate to see women leverage the kids.
I was just gonna say, women
leverage a new woman. Yeah, I hate to see it both ways, man. We gotta do better.
Women leverage the kids all day, but Dr. Umar, at the end of the day,
be there.
Come on, bro. You gotta be there and have a relationship with your child, so she's not on TikTok. I mean, he on TikTok. He should be collabing with his daughter. Like, what the hell? She's 22.
And she's a reflection of him. So when she came on the internet all fired up and fiery and funny and
she was
crazy,
funny as hell. Right.
I said, oh, that's Dr. Umar's daughter for sure, because she act just like this man. I mean, he got his work cut out for him. That's his DNA running around here, man. He can't avoid that.
Facts, man.
So, yeah.
Facts. But I appreciate you guys for rocking with us. Listen, we come in hard, we come in strong. Y'all sent us these topics, sent us some more. You know, people like to hear our perspective on a lot of these topics, especially the man. They love the relationship content, bro. Like we ain't trying to go. Like I be getting so much. Speak on this. I be like, bro, y'all already know my answer to it. So, but I got a lot to work on, man, because a lot of people done called me cheap and anti-women. I be like, bro, like I'm for the women. Like I really be helping women, and they be like, just because I be speaking to men because I have only been a black man in America, so I can only speak from my perspective. And I think a lot of men are very distracted by women, and that's their biggest downfall outside of liquor and drugs and leverage, which is debt. A lot of people don't know what leverage is. That's debt. Um, Liquors, ladies, and leverage is the biggest downfall of men. My guy Charlie Munger, billionaire, Warren Buffett partner. That was his message he always coined. So, fellas, I'ma always ride for y'all. Ladies, y'all already know I rock with y'all. Like, if I was anti-women, man, I wouldn't.
He's not
I
anti-women.
definitely wouldn't have got as far as I am because I help a lot of women out.
Yeah, no, behind the scenes, he's a really nice guy, ladies. I swear,
Hey,
this man has
bruh.
top tier morals and integrity,
Bruh.
and he really does love black women. So don't be misinformed. I was like, James, are you okay?
Bro,
Nah, he does though. He
I
loves
need
black
to,
women.
yeah, I
So.
need to start showing some of my lifestyle and some of the money I be spending it on. I'm not even about to go there, but
Yeah, but even more than that, you're encouraging, you're uplifting, you give opportunities. You could have had another guy on here with you co-hosting.
facts.
But you literally said that you
I need
wanted
a woman's.
a woman
I want the
perspective.
one. I want the woman's perspective
That's what you
because I don't
said,
want to be
so.
on here just because
Yeah.
I believe in partnerships and families and shit like that. So I don't. I don't think men can do it all their own. Men gonna fix the black community. No, families.
Families.
Families are gonna fix the black community.
Yeah.
But we out, guys. Subscribe. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, James Hill TV. Make sure you follow my co-host Shorty Mac, Shorty Mac ATL on Instagram and Twitter, I believe. And make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube.
Subscribe now.
Peace.